it's Julia. I am back with another denim bag made out of a pair of thrifted blue jeans. I got this wonderful piece gifted to me from a subscriber. Thank you so much. It is absolutely gorgeous, and I think it's going to be a wonderful fall addition. I just love the fall colors. I also picked up this thrifted, I think it was a shower curtain. I got it for $4, and there's a lot of fabric in that, so I'm going to be using that for part of this. This little flap, I'm just going to put over the top of this. It's really a good, the jeans fit it well. It's about the same size of what I need. Just going to be doing some cutting here just to get this into a bag shape. Flipping that over and cutting the other leg at the same length or same way. Now I want to get that waistband together at the top. That the front of the waistband has a tendency to be a little bit lower, and so I'm going to just take a couple pins there and get that so that that is going to be straight across, and then I'm cutting that bottom part so it's open. This is always an awkward little spot on these, so I'm going to be doing like a little tuck in the bottom here where the crotch seam is. You can see it better there. I'm just going to pin that. Now my waistbands are even at the top, and so I'm going to have a little bit extra here to cut off. Just cutting that. And then to my sewing machine I go. I'm going to be turning this inside out and stitching that bottom. And then also I'm going to be stitching the corners too, to box the corners. There's a little mark on this, so I'm going to be adding a little embellishment to that. And then that will be just hooked to the back. I'm just kind of figuring out what I'm going to be doing here. If you notice, you'll see these bark chips off to the side there. I'm filming this at the flea market, and the lighting is absolutely beautiful. I'm underneath my canopy, so I have just wood chips at the bottom or on the ground, but it's just this wonderful diffused light, and so I love the lighting that I have on this video. It's just, you never know what's going to happen when you're filming at the flea market. Again, just sewing across the bottom, and then I'm going to box these corners. Just by sewing across so there's a little triangle that's formed. Opening up the seams, and again, just going right across that corner as well. I have this thrifted, I think it was a tablecloth. I'm not really certain what it was, but it's got these interesting embellishments or motifs in it, and I am going to be using that to cover up that little spot on that piece that I'm going to be using for that front flap. And I'm going to be cutting 2 of these, and you'll see where I'm going to be placing them. One's going to be right on that stain. And you can see one of them, I'm just going to laying them both on the side of this design, and it almost looks like it's meant to be there. And then just stitching that into place. I'm just using my sewing machine to stitch that. Now for the strap, I'm going to be using this top of this shower curtain for the strap. It has these buttonholes in it, but I think it just adds interest. I'm going to be cutting approximately enough to turn it under, and you'll see me press it here, turning that under and then turning it again. We'll be pressing that and then taking that to my sewing machine and stitching that strap. And I use approximately 45 inches of this for my strap. A little bit of it I did not need. I did cut a little bit of it off, but it was the perfect thing to use for this strap. It was almost completely ready to use as it was. And now the backing of this little piece here, this little vintage linen, I think it was like a table runner possibly is what the original piece was meant to be. But I want to face it or put a backing on it just to give it a little bit more strength, and then just to cover it, to cover up a little bit of that stitching on the back. So just laid it face down and just giving it, so I have about a little bit to turn under. So I'm going to just turn that under and press it, and then I'll be stitching this into place. I couldn't think of an easier way to do this. And so this is how I figured it out. And then this top part will be just folded underneath or folded over it. So that is all finished off as well. And here you have an idea of what I did. I just stitched it all into place. And so that's complete, and my strap is complete. This is going together so easily. I thought maybe I'd add little buttons to that, but I ended up didn't do it, but I could still add little buttons on that strap. To close this, I'm going to just add a couple magnetic snaps. I'm going to be putting 2. I'm going to avoid that center just because it's too much going on there with the fly of that of the jeans. So I'm just going to be adding 2 on each side of that fly. Did not have a seam ripper at the flea market. I don't know how I managed not to have one. So I'm just using my scissor to try to poke the holes and getting my 4-part magnetic snap. So there's the 2 sides, and then of course the washer. So each one of these has 4 parts to it. Putting that washer on and then just bending those prongs over, and I'm just using my fingers to do that. These aren't real strong. And then finding out where I need the other part of this, and again, just using my scissor because I don't have my seam ripper to poke my holes. One is in, and then I'm just going to do the other one on the other side. To cover up those snaps now, I wanted just to add a little bit of something, and I'm just going to put another little piece of this same fabric underneath that belt loop just to cover up that snap. And you can see I just went over the top of the belt loop. And I just stitched it right into place. And now pinning that strap right on the side seam of my jeans. And then I will be stitching this into place. And I do stitch over this a couple different times. I want that strap to be quite secured. So I'll be stitching it both on the very top and then down a ways as well on both sides. And then it's onto this fun little piece of linen. I'm going to take these belt loops off. This actually took the longest of anything on this entire bag, was removing these belt loops. But I didn't want to stitch over them. And then I do use them again, and you'll see in a second here. I don't show removing those belt loops because that took forever. But I just stitched that right into place then once those belt loops were removed, both on the top and the bottom. So that's all done. And now the belt loops, I'm just going to add them again just for a little bit extra detail. Just stitch those back into place. The middle one was actually crossed like this on the regular pair of jeans, so I'm going to do it the same way. So that is it. I got those little belt loops done, and the strap is sewn into place. Now I want to line it. I'm going to use some of the same fabric again, and just going to use my bag as my pattern piece, giving myself about 1/2 inch all the way around. And I am going to square the corners on my little lining as well. So just kind of using that as a template and cutting that fabric away. And then to my sewing machine I go, turning the right sides, so the right sides are together, stitching all the way around it, and then I did square my corners the same way I did the bag. I folded under the top and pressed it. And then I am going to be stitching this into place. First pinning it, so it's going to be pinned right over that strap to cover that strap end. And I'm going to pin it and stitch it right below those snaps. There was a couple places where I had to walk my machine. It got real bulky. And a couple places I didn't even stitch this. I can even do that, go through and hand stitch it later if I need to. It just got too bulky over some of those components of that jean. And here it is. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's really a fun, it's just a beautiful bag. It was such a beautiful piece, and thank you again who sent it to me. Here's some pictures. I kind of took quite a few pictures here, just so you can see the detail of this linen. And I have this wonderful peeled painted door at the flea market, and it takes wonderful pictures. Here's the back of it. And here's how it looks when it's hanging on someone. Thank you, everybody. Bye for now.